welcome everybody to The Bigger Picture with me, Nick, and my co-host Sid. And today with us is a very special guest, Guy Malone. Welcome to The Bigger Picture.
Thanks for having me. It's really good to hang out with you guys.
Yeah, it's a pleasure having you on. And at the end of the show, we have a big announcement. So for the people who are watching, hang in there because it's really cool. But before we, go into a series of discussions about UFOs, demons, the Middle East, and star alignments, can you briefly introduce yourself and tell us who you are and how you got into crypto and UFOs?
Oh, heck of a day for me doing this, because you said something about the star alignment, that little planetary thing happening above. I have plans for that, actually. But I'll warn you, my mom was one of those. She told me I do well to say my own name in 25 words or less. So the briefest of intro, I grew up in Nashville, Tennessee. I was an experiencer of childhood visitations. I grew up and got saved in my 20s, became a Christian. And I began to discern that my experiences were probably demonic. A lot of Christians arrive at the conclusion that demons are really aliens. That's not new, but in the 70s through 90s, it was controversial or brand new. I wrote a self-published book and a webpage and moved to Roswell, New Mexico as a missionary to target people like the Heaven's Gate cult suicide, the Raelian religion, who Zecharia Sitchin followers who just reinterpret the Bible as some alien narrative. They'll say that the fire by night was a UFO, the cloud by day that the Israelites were following, all kinds of stuff like that. So I'm the counterculture Orthodox Christian views to that. But I went inactive for a really long time. I've been here since 99, minus 5 years. Wound up studying Bitcoin. And I know we were going to talk about what brings it all together. We'll move into centralization versus decentralization. It's the Christian view of prophecy and the New World Order of one world government, currency, and religion. And then versus Christian, you're sovereign, bought with a price. You know, a man's head is Christ. So there is a common thread that weaves it all together eventually. We'll have fun unpacking it.
Definitely.
Trying.
Yeah, no, and you have a very interesting background. The first time that I talked to you, I was already surprised, and there's way more avenues to go down to. This is just, sort of the highlights that you gave us. But you mentioned, and I also mentioned, like the 6 planetary alignments. Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn.
No Mars. I'm having fun on Facebook. I have a link on this, so I'm having good opportunities spamming everybody's groups with my link, because Mars is not one of them.
Okay, so which ones are they, and what's so special about it?
You started off correctly. It's unique because it happens at sunset, so you get to count the sun kind of with wiggle room, and the moon is extremely part of this too. So Mercury is going to be the hardest one to catch. You got to get that right when the sky is turning dark, but it's still light. But Mercury, Saturn, and Venus are all going to be in the I'm wrong to say eastern, in the western sky. You got to look west at 6 p.m. if I'm in Roswell. That's Denver time. Tell people what time that is for you.
6 p.m. Denver time. That would be, I think, around midnight or past midnight here. Because what time is it there now?
12 noon. So we're 12 hours.
Okay. So it would be 2
Jupiter will be very high in the sky. You'll actually have to turn around. You look west to see the 3 on the horizon, and they'll just be a little bit above the horizon. Saturn will catch your eye, but Venus will be brighter, and then you got like 15 minutes where Mercury zaps through, and they're all right there. Way up here, you're going to have Jupiter with the moon. And right now, all summer and winter, Jupiter has been accompanied with Castor and Pollux of Gemini. So they're very prominent as well. I do have a blog post that goes into some of this, and it's fun and funny. It's one of my alternate personas that we probably won't have time for today.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons that you started diving into UFOs, right? And how special is this alignment? Like, I mean, how often does it occur?
It's not like apocalyptic once in a lifetime, even oddly enough. We had more planets in the last decade. I forget what year. The next one like this is 2040. So, and the way I wrote in my blog is we have to remember, this will sound a little highfalutin, but this, number one, they don't even align. There is no line at the that any of them are following. You see a lot of the memes like it's a straight line or an arc.
Yeah.
Nada. What's really happening is the top half of the sky of what we can all see, 180 degrees, 6 are in the sky at the same time. Uranus and Neptune, you won't be able to see naked eye. You have to have binoculars for those, but they're there. In an article or column I wrote for the Roswell Daily Record newspaper that I used to write for, I compared them to Statler and Waldorf from the Muppets. Okay? You got it. Okay. But they're, they're additional commentary. So from the top, Neptune and Uranus are not naked eye visible, but they're there in the sky, along with the moon and Jupiter. And then as the sun is setting, the faster movers are all lumped. Venus will be brightest. Then Saturn, probably then Mercury.
Wow, so it's special, but it's not super special. But on this...
interpretively, I've been like using AI this last 6 months or so to, the Magi that followed the star to Jesus. We all know the story. We know. I hope we all do. Christian, if you know anybody that doesn't know the story, you're not doing your job. But anyway, I've had fun asking how would that mindset, those same guys, how would they interpret XYZ if something is conjuncting? So this one, it is a royal court assembly kind of thing. It is important from that point of view. I don't want to delve into it. It freaks people out when they don't understand there's a big difference between astronomy, astrology, and what the Magi actually did, which is more math-based astronomy with interpretive. The saying is, biblically, we're not supposed to follow or adhere to the astrologers with their month-by-month predictions. Astrology is predictive, and it's sinful, and it's warned against in the Bible. What the Magi practice, and is even still kind of alive by the Ethiopic church today, is an observation of Genesis 1, signs, seasons, markers, with Psalm 19, the firmament, the sky shouts forth language. So the best example is Hark the Herald Angels Sing. I made this one up. I hope you like it. The angels, stars, well, we can wiggle with that, but they announced Jesus's birth. Question for you. Did they predict Jesus's birth, or did they cause Jesus's birth? No. Things we see in the sky, they don't cause or predict anything. They announce what God is doing. What season has he marked? It's next to never personally predictive. But it is one of the ways God says he speaks in a language, even to the lost. And then, man, I can't believe I got all that out, brother.
Yeah, no, and we'll probably circle back to astronomy and stars and more of that.
No, but I have a question. So
Yeah, okay,
this
go.
alignment, so this alignment is very special. So how can I interpret it? Like, if it is like apocalyptic, is it like peaceful, or is it good for war or good for peace? How do you gonna interpret it?
I haven't studied the art, and I'm not going to say dark art. It is a science, and it's more math. And then there's interpretive layers that are based on history. Historically, what has this meant? Something happened this summer that I photographed, involved 5 lights, that was really only like 4 or 5 times had ever happened in human history. I published it in our newspaper as well. So to answer your question, the AI has told me that there was not enough occurrences for the Magi or whoever, Babylonians, to really say what this means, because they wouldn't risk their credibility because they didn't have enough data. It hadn't happened, something that happens every 800 years. You don't have enough data to track, are there commonalities? That's what they look for. They're record keepers, and then they look for patterns, and it's math. So they're not predicting anything. Let me get back to the point is, what they look for is irregularities. What we're seeing tonight is regular. It happens, and it's significant from our mortal point of view on the ground. That's what we were saying. There is no arc that everything's following. They all just come in the top half of the sky at once. You've got, you can see 6 at the same time if you have a telescope, plus the sun and moon. You can't see
But,
Mars because it's below the horizon.
but
Like you would
from
say,
but from an astrological or from an astronomical or from the Magi perspective, it wasn't very significant. What we're seeing right
tonight
now.
is not actually. It's actually not. It's ordered and it's structured. And we humans tend to assign a little more meaning to things. The thing is, it's pretty and it's statistically rare, and it's pretty. Just the same reason, the same way that people traveled to Roswell, New Mexico to see the eclipse because it was the best place to see it in North America a couple of years ago. The same reason sky parties happen. It's statistically rare. It's not a doom and gloom portent specifically because you asked about war, though. Darn it, the thing I did write in my blog was Mars being absent. It's below the horizon, but it is also completely consumed by the glare of the sun right now, i.e. irrelevant. So I'm not a warlock or magician. This is something I started looking at just a few months ago, a little bit of self-taught, some AI, and some stargazing. I have a window facing east. Whoop-de-doo. That and a high school education gets me a cup of coffee. So the Guy interpretation of Mars being not part of this huge summoning of the court, whatever you want to interpret it as, is that war is currently irrelevant and obscured. The war, what I wrote was the wars among men are not the top headline today.
No, on this auspicious day, something really
exactly. That's why
that was sort of my
my
segue.
It's a distraction.
Yeah.
The heavenly court is not paying attention to the wars of man today.
Yeah, well, there was sort of like
I've been up half the night checking it out.
I guess you could call it a surprise attack. It wasn't that much of a surprise because it was hanging in the air for a long time.
It was announced and you caught it. They've been planning it for months, is what all the headlines.
Or years.
First paragraph of anything that.
No, I think months.
Together.
Yeah. Also, this whole negotiation was a scam. Basically, they were buying their time to position their things around, basically in Middle East, and now we have war. But it is very surprising that this is a special day, but in heavenly court, war of a man is not a thing. So I'm actually surprised.
That's the Guy Malone interpretation. I cannot guarantee that any ancient or modern Babylonian or Magi experienced degreed practitioner would ride across the desert to tell you that. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, the timing you said is 6 p.m. Denver time when it's gonna align.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. That is the sun sets, I think, at 5:55, and the instructions of anywhere they tell you the prime viewing is 15 to 20 minutes. Because what you're really looking a lot of people are going to miss it because they're going to, in their head, wait for dark and then look up. Too late. What you're looking for here is they happen to come together. The only reason you're going to see Mercury is as the sky is turning dark. You will still see sunlight. You will still see red, yellow, orange and stuff depending on your sky. But you will only see Mercury pass right there, lit with enough dark behind it, catch it for about 20 minutes after the sunset. And then it'll be gone from view.
That will be 1 p.m.
It'll be like I don't know where it goes, honestly. But 6 p.m. Denver time, Roswell time is sunset anyway. But the sky is still plenty lit. That's what I'm saying. Don't wait till dark and then run out and look up if you want to see this, because you'll see Jupiter in all its glory. You'll see a couple others. Saturn is, I photographed it last night to give people where to look in the sky. It was the only one I could see. Tonight, Venus will be, and it's very low on your western horizon, just like a little tick to the northwest from Roswell.
So, and 6 p.m. Denver time is 1 p.m. Central European time. I'm not sure if we're going to see anything here, but we got a special war reporter with us. Sid has been monitoring everything that's happening right now. So, Sid, can you give us a quick rundown of the situation and how bad is it?
Okay, so their plan, well, basically, when I say their, I mean Israel and USA plan was to surprise attack. But what happened? Iran was not surprised. at all, because they responded this time within an hour, which is very surprising because last time it took them more than 24 hours to do their
Hmm.
first response. And then the response this time was very calculated, that they didn't just respond to Israel, they also attacked 7 countries. Every country that
Right.
have a military US military base was attacked. And it's not just like there was like a symbolic attack. They attacked the military bases, and especially Bahrain was like destroyed in the first hour of the attack. Now they are targeting Dubai, which is crazy because I never thought that Dubai will get attacked by Iran
Mm.
like that. Because they have like issues, and there was always a chance that Dubai can respond and Saudi will get involved with Dubai. With Bahrain is different because Bahrain used to be a part of Iran,
Mhm.
and the
Yeah.
population of Bahrain
Right.
is like mostly Shia population. It's like 70% Shia, which is already in the camp of Khamenei. Their government is not. Their government is GCC pro Saudi, and the people is kind of, they always say that we don't want to be ruled by these guys because we are not, they are not the majority, we are the majority and we are being suppressed. So in Bahrain, that's why they attack Bahrain first. Kuwait is also gone, like not Kuwait, but the bases in Kuwait. Qatar is being attacked as well, non-stop. And I think after every 15 to 20 minutes, they are launching something, either a Shahid drone or a ballistic missile to
But are
one of
those
those countries.
uh, to me, by the way, it seems almost like copy paste Venezuela, right? A huge build up before the strike and then negotiating, and then it's basically exactly what they did in Venezuela,
Yeah, but in
only bigger.
Venezuela, they were successful. Like
Yeah.
US Army was very successful. Here, it is not.
No, no,
And
because they already seen the movie, right? So they already,
yeah.
yeah. So
At this
the
time, China is helping a lot with surveillance. Like, because I don't think Iran have a lot of surveillance equipment. So it's China and Russia which is
yeah.
providing all the intel. So they are indirectly, or even you can say directly, involved. Uh, One thing also happened. One of the bases where NATO soldiers were camped in, 20 of them died. All of them were Italian. So Italian who had nothing to do, they got killed.
Yeah, but
Uh,
Europe was already messing around in Iran
yeah,
for
British already announced that they are going to join. France also said they are looking into options.
yeah.
Francis.
Spain and Norway, they condemned the attack. So they came out and they said,
Very,
which
very
was,
wise, very wise. I'm not sure if
yeah,
it will save them, but yeah, in Europe already, France and Britain are sort of switching, moving nukes around, which is sort of agitating Russia very much. And then Zelensky in an interview said, like, if I get my hands on a nuke, I'll use it,
yeah,
like the
he's
first
not
thing I'll
getting
do.
a hold of anything.
So
Yeah,
I hope they won't get a nuke, but and then Russia is of course using these forbidden weapons in Ukraine right now.
yeah.
So
There
it's
is also one important thing, Pakistan, which is like the biggest military power in the Muslim world because they have nukes and everything. They attacked Afghanistan day
yeah,
before
yeah,
yesterday.
yeah. I heard,
I
right?
think they did it because they knew attack gonna
Wow.
happen, and uh, so they want to get engaged with a different country so they don't get dragged along in this war, because they have good relation with Saudi and Iran.
And US, right?
Yeah, with US of course. Yeah, but like they have a military pact with Saudi. So if Saudi get attacked, which it got attacked, which is really crazy that they attacked Riyadh, that Pakistan have to respond. But since Pakistan is already engaged in Afghanistan war, they cannot go there. So they actually, I think, figure out a way to stay out of this whole situation.
Hmm.
Interesting. Okay, well, I was actually writing an article earlier today about this, and then the things moved so fast that I have to rewrite the whole thing. But
I had no idea there were that many moving parts to this.
yeah,
Great
Yeah.
summary.
Yeah. Also important attack. Two things. Three schools were targeted.
yeah,
Children's in one school, 51 kids, all female kids died, and two other schools, and there one is like 17 kids died, and one I don't remember the number. Second, in this attack, Khamenei's house was attacked, and his son-in-law died. and I think his daughter or daughter-in-law as well died. But
Right.
Hamdai
Oh,
is safe. Yeah.
I also have an update because I'm in a couple of these groups and they're following this too. And this one I got just before going live. It was like the Israeli army says it conducted its largest military airstrike in history with about 200 fighter jets dropping hundreds of munitions on roughly 500 targets, including air defense systems and missile launchers across multiple locations in Iran. Now, I don't know, the first thing that suffers or dies in war is the truth. So I don't know. I don't know
Mm,
what is what.
whoa.
So, do you have any, Sid? Do you have any? Because you said a lot of these bases have been hit, right? Is there any news about the damage that they suffered, or
Yeah,
because?
so Bahrain base is totally destroyed. It's unusable.
Hmm.
So the runway is destroyed, and then nothing big happened in Riyadh. They were like more like a symbolic attack, which is even very big because nobody was expecting that. Dubai is actually, I'm sorry, in Bahrain there was a building. Don't
Yeah, an
remember the
hotel,
name now.
right? Oh, that was Dubai.
No, no, Dubai. But I'm just going back to Bahrain. There
Yeah.
was a whole building called like Factor 5 or something, which was under American control. That building was demolished.
Oh,
Uh, in Qatar, Al Udeid Air Base was already emptied because everybody was expecting that to get hit. And there is some damage. I think that's repairable, but they are not going to repair because the attack are continuing. Dubai is actually more than just the basis. I think hotels were damaged, but I don't think they were the target. They were very close to the base, and the shrapnel from the bombs hit
Were
the.
there any civilians killed in Dubai?
No. Oh, I think one got injured with interception because Dubai is firing the interception missiles to
Yeah.
stop the drones or the missiles. So they were trying to intercept something. The debris from that missile dropped on one guy, and that one guy is injured. I don't think he's dead.
Well, and on the news, Bitcoin, of course, dropped to
By the
6.
way, one more thing. They are not saying about the deaths because I think they want to hide it. I think there are actually multiple casualties.
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
imagine.
because it's a fog of war and they don't want to hype the situation. But I think a lot of people are gone in in these attacks.
Okay, yeah. So that's a brief summary of the situation right now, and it is developing very rapidly. And I imagine, like tomorrow, I think lots of new things will have happened, and by Monday.
Yeah, I also want to give update on the IRGC's new statement that
Mhm.
they just used old stock from the bottom of the pile. From tomorrow or day after tomorrow, you will see the weapons that you have never imagined.
Yeah,
They
well,
said that.
yeah, actually that's in my piece, right? I think, and
Oh,
that's something that ties into what we're going to talk about actually, because I think the UFO announcement from Trump is sort of leading up to the new weapon systems that China and the BRICS and the US are gonna deploy. Especially if this really escalates like big time, then I think the new weapon toys are gonna be deployed. So it will be the first time that we actually see them in action. And yeah, talking about that, you got a background in UFOs, and you link UFOs to demons and aliens. Are in your view also
that's my cue.
basically?
Okay.
Yeah. So tell us more about how you came to those conclusions and what they are based on, and how you sort of view the sort of what is actually going on with the UFO disclosure and this whole disclosure movement, according to you.
Aside from, I did have personal childhood experiences, and in the very late '90s, I wrote my first web page, autobiographical, of visitors, big eyes, torment. Grew up and just kind of suppressed and forgot about it. But in the back of my mind, I grew up thinking I was an alien abductee. And we didn't have a lot of TV. Close Encounters, Steven Spielberg were not household names back then. I'm born in 1968, so the internet and the X Files did not impact me when I was 6 years old. Um, but as an adult, I got saved and I began to realize this was demonic. And I have a ministry partner now, Joseph Jordan in Florida, who has literally worked for NASA as a safety inspector. He has top secret clearances. And now he works for Blue Origin. He's older than I am. A secular, unchristian UFO researcher, but worked with MUFON, Mutual UFO Network, and started researching abduction cases. And one or two early on told him that they stopped the abduction in the name of Jesus Christ, like an exorcism or deliverance. And he didn't believe that. He was a crystal carrying hippie at the time, and he wouldn't hear it. But the evidence mounted that this became repeatable, observable, and measurable is how he tells his story. And it's basically how he got saved. Me, I was looking for a way to stop this experience. That's all I cared about. And eventually I came across Whitley Strieber's book, Communion, childhood abductee, but it was affecting his married life and his child. And that was the pattern. And I just wanted to stop. How do I not have that happen? And lifelong searches, somehow or other, I got saved. Too many long stories, I'm sure. But the abduction experiences have not happened. They've attempted to, but it's just a mask that they wear. 500 years ago, little people with big black eyes and magic wands that would come poke your private parts out in the woods, and then bring you back home. What's called elves and fairies, and incubus, succubus. There you go. Leprechaun. We all have words for those. It was the edge of paranormal, lewd, crazy people that were into it, same as the UFO crowd today, which includes me. I'm allowed to say that. But back then, 500 years ago, if that was your issue, you knew your answer was in the church. You would call on Jesus. You might have to go get an exorcism or some other thing from the church. But today, you go to the church with this issue, and they will steer you out of their office fast, tell you to go see a psychiatrist, rather than steering you to Jesus or the Bible for answers. And that's my attack right there, is that the Bible says we are fully equipped for doctrine. One pastor, Chris Ward, years ago said that people were coming to him, and he goes, I didn't have to agree or believe what they believed, that they were being abducted by aliens, in order to pray with them. They were looking for relief from the Lord. So I'm glad they came to me. And all the evidence over late 90s, Joe Jordan, Chris Ward, a slew of modern pop culture household names today in the UFO fringe culture. None of them existed back in 1999. It grew up. What I was going to say is every honest scientific theological investigation comes with, this is demonic. They stop in Jesus' name. And my own little area of research was I documented their messages, just like Dr. Mack of Harvard and MIT over at, I'm dropping a name here, but they've studied this over a symposium. 800 people presented papers or were abductees and journalists. It's not a psychological illness. Abductees do have PTSD, both in their mind, body, spirit, any measurable, testable way. It just, the evidence has mounted that it stops in Jesus' name. But that topic, okay, let's say you're not crazy and I believe you. Did they say anything? Well, yeah, they did. Well, what did they say? And then when you compare the messages of what they say, it's 180 degrees opposite from anything the Bible says. They'll tell you things like, you humans didn't understand science and cloning and DNA 2,000 years ago. Mary was actually an abductee, and we artificially inseminated her. Jesus was half alien, and that's where his superpowers came from. There are religions built on this today, is what I'm here to tell you.
John Mack is, of course, a very famous Harvard psychiatrist. He actually won a Nobel Prize, but I think he never mentioned. I think he actually saw this abductees being abducted by aliens. I think he never mentioned a religious perspective.
In fact, he would say the opposite. I'm quoting him to give the topic credibility in the mind of the listener. Not that he would agree with me. He is deceased. No, he actually looked at it as a cosmic consciousness. Almost, you agreed to for the sake of the good of the universe. It's tough now, but in a previous life you agreed to it, and it's all going to work out fine. Just side with the aliens. They'll rapture you out right before the earth explodes, just like the movie Nicolas Cage. That's their constant message. No, you're special. You have a purpose. Side with the aliens. They're explaining away the end times as described in the Bible.
But and then when you sort of take the Christian perspective on this whole thing, you also have angels, right? And angels also intervene in human affairs.
Absolutely.
They're actually seen and stuff. So how do those map onto this discussion, right? Because there are also beings that are not human. What are they? Are those?
Yeah. A lot of this has to do with understanding there's just different levels or types of angels. Messenger is the Greek word, angelos, and it's something macaw, whatever in Hebrew. They both mean messenger, and that's what we picture a man in white robes. Wings, not so much. That is literally the lowest and farthest from the throne of God class of angels. What we see in Ezekiel, Isaiah, things like that, the vision around the thrones, the wheel within a wheel, that is an actual type of angel. There's powers, thrones, dominions, messengers, etc. But wheels is one of them. And that's Ezekiel 1, that's not a UFO, kids. Ezekiel 1 uses the word vision twice. He's telling you this was a vision. It was not a 3D space-time experience. So it's not a UFO. Anyway, one of our revered friends, Dr. Mark Heiser, has lectured on that topic here in Roswell. We've done Christian conferences, bringing theologians in to discuss these things. Published, credible folk. But a lot of people will default to. Were you sort of going that angels are behind this when you study it? Yeah, but when you read their messages, they're bringing false gospels and they're tormenting people, either raping them or not. But they're making them feel that way, so that they are angelics, but they're not doing the will of God.
But would you agree that there are also angelic beings that are actually physically or metaphysically interacting with human affairs, like in the name of God?
Yeah, my life has been saved probably half a dozen times. Car wrecks and jumping off of into rocky water I had no business in, split open my head and survived. Yeah, those guardian angels are constantly interacting with physicality. They can, we see it in the Bible all the time, become fully corporeal. They can eat. They eat with Abraham. Here's the question. My research gets you into this, though. Okay, let's assume did they create spit in their mouth when they were chewing the food? Does the food go anywhere, or is it more like a Star Trek replicator? It just disappears. Do angels poop if they hang around long enough after eating? And that brings us to everyone.
Smells like roses. Smells like roses.
Genesis 6 and other non-canonical books that tell the story of what the ancients believed about angels that mated with human women. That is the study that always gets classically connected to modern day UFOs. And well-meaning Christians 20 years ago, God bless them, and I was one of them then, fell for this, that, oh, you're having experiences where a spirit being is abducting you and getting you pregnant? Well, in the Bible, that happened in Genesis 6. The sons of God saw them, blah, 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 blah. Therefore, Bible Jesus is your answer. Ding, 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 ding. Well, turns out they have those similarities, but no, in the Bible, they were not hit and run dads. They stayed. They created families. They created dynasties. In fact, they were wiped out in the flood. Mm-hmm. And that's where the term Nephilim comes from. Or the Nephilim were the hybrids. Father, angel, human, woman, had a titan, we'll say. Hercules was born. Flood.
Demigods.
Many centuries. Yes, sir?
I'm saying demigods, like Hercules.
Yes, you got it. Exactly. Many centuries of this, turning all humanity evil, cannibalism from the gods and all this jazz. Flood comes. Those demigods, they didn't go up or they didn't go down. It's what the modern church calls demons. This is where the hairs split come in on this. Fallen angels are not the same as demons. Demons are the ghosts of fallen angels' children. Hope that tracked. If you are a Nephilim, a demigod, if you're Hercules, when you die in the flood or in battle or of old age, your spirit does not go abide with God or even to Sheol. It's a place for humans. They're still here is what the canon of the first century taught.
Yeah, and Sheol is the underworld in the Jewish from the Jewish perspective, right? So Okay, but are you, for example, familiar with plasma research?
Plasma research?
Yeah,
Did you say? No.
yeah, yeah. So you got within the UFO field, there's like a whole school by now,
Oh, I can.
which
Okay, I was
yeah,
connecting it to ancient
yeah,
ancient time.
sort of like people like Ashton Forbes, but there's like many others. Also, Robert Temple is a very famous one. He studied at Cambridge, and but there's like a whole school of thinking about it and research and documented cases. And some people ascribe UFOs and some of these visions and observations to plasma orbs, like ball lightning, but also more
Will
exotic kind of things.
500 years
So
ago, Will o' the Wisp.
yeah. So how do those map onto your? How do you fit them into your paradigm?
There is a blanket similarity between. You could go as far as one psychic phenomena and voices and levitation that always overlaps. Preston Dennett, I quote him in a couple of my lectures, but the book 1 in 40, that the overlap between psychic phenomena and ufology, and then people literally being haunted after UFO experiences and paranormal stuff happening in their houses. Classic.
Skinwalker Ranch.
Hmm?
Skinwalker
Classic.
Ranch.
Yeah. Okay. Boom. We're on. Yeah. But classic demonic. It starts with fascination. Am I saying it right? No, manifestation. Look,
Yeah.
there in the sky. Then it goes to fascination, where it becomes your life, your little obsession, more than a hobby, more than a call ministry that you. And so, yeah, manifestation. Whatever I just said, fascination, and then infestation. Then you can't get rid of them. UFO
Okay.
haunted. Thing is, there's an overlap where people throw Bigfoot into this same net of paranormal poof brimstone activity. It's some people genericize it. It's whatever lie you'll believe. Pretty girl or a bottle of whiskey or an alien, yada yada yada. But no, I don't think Will o' the Wisp and plasma is so connected to ufology per se. You're in the field of paranormal research in general. You're cryptozoology. Let's play around with that. That overlaps as well. The $6 million man, the Bionic Man from the 70s, the UFO and Bigfoot episode. Man, it's old hat. The overlap is definitely there, and all research says it's all the same, or at least it's all extremely connected.
But do they? So for example, Bigfoot, right? Some say there's even some DNA research that seems to be for real. But it seems to, if it's real, I'm not, I don't know. It sort of tracks back to the Nephilim, right? And maybe some of them survived the flood. And
some say that. No, I don't believe anything survived the flood. The Bible says all flesh was destroyed. Nothing survived the flood, but the whatever was on the ark, whoever was on the ark, the animals. No, are you saying that because giantism and things continued? Is that why you would?
No, I'm a big fan and follower of David Paulides. He's like an investigator with 30 years or so in the police force.
The missing people.
Missing 411. Yeah, missing.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, 411.
Yeah, he's like a very down to earth, salt of the earth kind of guy. He doesn't brag or exaggerate, or he doesn't seek out sensationalism. He always sticks to the facts, and then he wrote, I think, 7 books for the missing 411, and they're just fact upon fact, of these strange disappearances that cannot be explained and that have a certain profile,
like in the woods and around these hot spots.
That somebody turns around and somebody who was just behind them is suddenly gone, and then they start searching all of them, and there's no way that they can find them, and then they go over the place like 7 or 10 times with dogs and helicopters and whatever, and they don't find it, and then like a week later suddenly somebody appears in the same spot that everybody searched over and over again. And
are they attributing paranormal or Bigfoot or?
Now, yeah, so he leaves it open. He doesn't. He's very careful not to jump to conclusions. But he is also into Bigfoot research. That is sort of his side quest, so to speak. He hasn't really officially linked the two things together. He doesn't want to contaminate one with the other. But he sort of does a lot of research with the Navajo Indians and these Indians on all places in America that he's very close with, and they have these
They know.
legends.
They know.
Yeah. So apparently it kind of looks like the Bigfoot thing is actually real, and the more you sort of dive into it, the more that's perhaps what you said, like fascination and an infestation, turns into an obsession. But okay, so do you think they are real or could possibly be real, and how do those sort of are they all
They
demons?
being aliens, UFOs, Bigfoot, feet? What's the plural? I don't know. What's they? As far as Bigfoot, I'm not as well studied. The older I get, the more I stay in my lane, honestly. Just throughout, a lot of people lump Bigfoot as just as paranormal as they do demonic aliens. If you're asking, do I believe UFOs, aliens are real, or Bigfoot?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Whatever do you think is real? Like,
well, the research shows. Were you saying something, Sid? Thought I heard. Most of the research, myself, my experience, me examining the messages of what abductees are being told and comparing it to the Bible, they always say that the aliens gave us Siddhartha Buddha and gave us the Quran, and Jesus is one of many ascended masters. These are like abductees' testimonies of what aliens told them. I can quote you the books and chapters on PowerPoints in the lectures that I do. Betty Andreas and Luca, the beings recoiled and walked away from her when she said, "Jesus, help me." But then they asked her to still, "Please follow me, please follow us." So that they couldn't take her. As soon as she said Jesus, this is in her own book, her own hypnotic transcripts of, as soon as they were taking her, one of the most famous abductees of all time, Christian abductee there. It's the one they always throw in your face. Because she was a Christian. Well, in her own words, the minute she said Jesus, they recoiled and stepped back. And then, I'm like page 379, I'll show it to you in a PowerPoint. Mm-hmm. And then they said, "Please follow us." So the classical alien abductions, you're paralyzed, you can't move. In the most famous, one of the three most famous abductees of all time, own words, the alien said, "Please come with us," seconds after she used the name of Jesus. All classical research by investigators who are willing to at least consider cracking open a Bible or thinking that Christians might have a card to play in this puzzle, whatever, they come to the same conclusion. It's spirits. It's called the interdimensional hypothesis as opposed to the extraterrestrial hypothesis.
Yeah.
Chocolate, all grades. Right there. Passport to Magnolia. I have a signed copy.
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, I actually agree with this one more, that they are not interplanetary, they are interdimensional. And there is a history of interdimensional being coming to the humans and talking to them. Like all the prophets were getting messages from angels. I don't think they were alien. People are just trying to make connection with aliens. That's just a very weak connection. Interdimensional being makes more sense. And they were extensively talked about in actually every religion, that there are beings out there who comes, and there are good beings and the bad beings, which we call demons in modern term. So yeah, and I think Bigfoot is one of those interdimensional beings that just somehow we see it, but we don't actually see it there. It's just like because with interdimensional beings, when they pass along, they sometimes give the shadow, and maybe in a forest when everything is already thick around you, the light is dark, and a lot of trees, you may see some vibration from that dimension, and people start imagining that that's a Bigfoot, because we don't have actual footage. And no matter how many times you say that those footage which are out there are real, I don't believe them. They are fake.
Well, I think we got one real.
No, yeah, the one we already talked about, I've seen it. That's a made up footage. That's not real.
Oh, this is
But
an
yeah, the
ongoing thing with
phenomena
you
is
guys.
real. Yeah.
Well,
But the phenomena is real. I think Bigfoot,
Yeah.
and we see something from interdimensional being, and they have to change their shape anyway. So sometimes maybe they morphed into this monkey-like animal, and then we saw it. Like some people saw it and they thought it's a Bigfoot.
I actually that's also the same conclusion that David Paulides reaches with interdimensional beings, because there are actually footprints of Bigfoot, many cases of footprints that they have recorded and that and measured and all that kind of stuff. They have a very peculiar way of walking, but these prints, they stop in mid stride, and then there's no more track. So,
well, that's when Jesus is carrying Bigfoot, don't you know? When the footprints go away, that's when Jesus is carrying Bigfoot the rest of the way.
Yeah,
probably.
Bazinga, bro.
Anyway, but one of the other things that is very intriguing that you just mentioned, that you are very much investigating also these alien religions. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you found out about these cults, alien cults? Because there's a lot of cults out there.
The ones I've met face to face, Rael. His name is Rael. He used to be a famous French race car driver.
Yeah. There's a great documentary on that also.
Yeah. Oh, I haven't seen. I haven't seen it. I did the common thread between Rael. I had the pleasure. I can't believe I got away with saying the things I did when I was a newspaper columnist very recently. I did a column titled "When Angels Lie," and I actually modeled it to the beat of Prince, "When Doves Cry." My opening verse was, "Dig, if you will, a scripture, Galatians 1:8, whether we or an angel from heaven, not from hell, not a demon." Pay attention, Christians. Your Bible says an angel will lie to your face. Whether we or an angel from heaven bring to you any other gospel. What's an angel from heaven doing teaching another gospel? We would call that a fallen angel, but that term's not in the Bible. An angel from heaven is going to bring false gospels, is what the Bible says. That happened to Rael, and in my column, I compare it to the Mormon angel that showed up to Joseph Smith, and then Islam that showed up to Muhammad, Prophet Muhammad. So when angels lie, new religions get started. Rael, religion, the most recent, he was told by the aliens that abducted him and took him to another planet that he was artificially inseminated, virgin birth, through the alien intervention, that he is today's virgin birth Messiah, that let us make man in our own image is the Raelian race from another planet who had science experiments that were illegal there. So they came to Earth, which was pristine and had no life on it at all. So they created all life on Earth through science experiments, and humans being one of them. That cult has between 40 and 80,000 members worldwide, depending on what number.
Still. Wow. Okay. I didn't know.
I met them face to face in Roswell and at UFO conventions. Like I've literally had tables with my stuff next to or across from them, and we got to hear each other's pitches.
Does he still live, Ryan?
I haven't heard that he died. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, he must be pretty old. Yeah.
I think that would have come across my radar.
They were also the ones that started cloning, right? I think they cloned the first girl. At least that was claimed, and then built into
the claim. You are correct. I forgot about that. Was it a publicity? But again, that
the lady, sort of like the right hand lady of Rael, was pretty famous and high up. What was she? Biomolecular scientist. I forgot her exact background, but she was a smart lady. And they had a laboratory. And they wanted to clone Eve.
I wouldn't have told you this off the top of my head. You're very well studied.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, she had because of course they had a lot of followers. I didn't know they had that many followers, but they moved to Canada they moved to Canada when they were banned from France, and then Canada sort of accepted them. Even though Canada keeps close track to all these UFO religions, they have a very big database in Canada on this. But they had a lot of these women that were willing to be inseminated or impregnated, and I think they claimed to have cloned one of those children from one of those women, which was supposedly called Eve. And then Bill Clinton, shortly after, there was this huge discussion about cloning, also with the sheep, totally the sheep, and then they banned the whole thing, right? Because of ethical reasons and stuff.
Mm-hmm. You always have to throw in that we know of. They banned it from you and me.
Yeah, because Epstein was, I think, also very much interested in cloning and impregnating and
Yeah.
children.
And what does this have in common with the Mormon religion and the Islam religion and the Raelian religion and the Epstein religion, Baal and all that stuff? It's the same thing. A false angel, you, the you're special, and here's your message treatment. And if you go to the church, let's be honest, they're going to reject you. You go to the UFO cults or to the UFO conference circuit, they'll put you on stage and pay you to tell your story, though. I mean, come on. It's no win.
But
If you're an experiencer, you're the church is going to crucify you.
so I don't want to open a can of worms here, but I do know, Sid has a slightly different perspective on this, I think. Because, from Islamic perspective, the angel that sort of taught Muhammad was Gabriel, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so from their perspective, it was like a real angel that actually started a real, like the final revelation. Like Jesus got like a new revelation, and then according to Islam, they got the final revelation, right? So you run into that problem, from a secular perspective, if you want to take a secular
Yeah,
perspective.
only a secular perspective, but historically, like 800 years earlier, Jesus literally said that he was the only one, God in the flesh. Muhammad and them never claimed that. You go to their grave sites, guess what? There's a grave there. You go to Jesus.
Yeah, but from the
gravesite.
Islamic perspective, Jesus or Isa is like a prophet, but you can't say he's the son of God, because that would be a shirk, right? That would be blasphemy with a pretty heavy
No,
penalty.
it's not blasphemy. It's just like basically it's shirk, yeah. But it's not blasphemy because, like, of course, that's a different religion and they have those things. But I will give you a better example, which compared to Mormons in Islam is called Ahmadis. They have actual false prophet. His name, he came around the same time as Joseph Smith, who also revealed that I am the new prophet. Muhammad was not the last prophet, and
Mhm.
they are actually Muslims, and that's a big group,
It's
especially in
from
UK
Syria,
and
right?
many countries. No, no, no. They started from India, Pakistan,
Okay.
Ahmadis. So I think one town of India. But then, so this group just grown a lot, and this is parallel to Mormons, which is like same thing. A kid found a tablet, angel came to him, gave him the same
Yeah.
thing, totally
Mhm.
opposite to the religion. Because like Mormon is very different from Christianity, right? Even though they kind of claim that they are
Yeah, the
part of it.
fundamental of who Satan and Jesus
Not
are
a
Yeah,
bit.
brothers. There's the
yeah.
planet
And then
Kolob that's near the throne.
same thing with him too. But
I
then what happened?
define
Like Muslims
Mormonism
also
as the
kicked him
first
out.
UFO cult. Oh,
No,
say
sorry,
that
go
again.
ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, no, go ahead.
I've typically called Mormonism the first UFO cult because belief in their religion demands a belief in life on other planets. Not a
Yeah.
UFO as a
Yeah.
nuts and bolts crap, but the spirit of UFO
Yeah,
cultism.
I actually also view them as the first UFO cult. It's actually
Rock on.
Yeah.
Never had anybody say or mirror that back to me the way. Okay.
And I don't have religious backgrounds. Even though my father and mother were Protestants, they were Reformed Protestant, but they didn't raise it. They did read the Bible and we need to pray before dinner and that kind. But they sort of left open the choice for us to accept the faith or not. And in Europe, there's not many people. Yeah, well, there are now way more people, but the sort of homogeneous original Europeans are, generally speaking, they kind of lost their faith.
Yeah, that's pretty well documented. You're right. Y'all so lukewarm over there. We feel sorry for you. Yeah.
Also, I think, in
You're
my
correct.
opinion, the first UFO cult or religion was Sumerians because they're
Okay, that's
whole,
fair.
yeah, yeah. That's my
But they
opinion.
didn't say it was from other planets. That was my determiner with Mormonism.
Oh, okay. But if you read the
Vimana.
translation of Zachariah Sitchin, he said that they are from 11th planet, right? Nibiru. So in that, but that's his translation. Also, there is an evidence that they used to say that they are from different planet because of their planet drawings and stuff, and there are a lot of evidence. So I think that is the first UFO. But that's my opinion, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
it's
No,
easy
I
to, yeah,
mean, it's a question of definition anyway, right? I mean,
that's fair. Yeah.
yeah,
There's
yeah,
no fight. There's no fight on this one. Yeah. It's
yeah,
words, like you're saying.
yeah. So okay,
Sitchiniswrong.com is what I'll drop into the conversation. Again, Dr.
Yeah,
Heiser.
it's a very famous site. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he spoke in Roswell in, oh gosh, 2004, and grabbed the URL Sitchin is wrong, and he did like a 90-minute a degreed Hebrew scholar, PhD, refutation to the works of Zechariah Sitchin. Art Bell invited them to come on and talk and debate, and Sitchin would never do it.
yeah, and Sitchin
So
was actually an economist, right? He's from the London School of Economics, who was sort of starting into this, this obsession that he got, where he sort of self-taught himself. He self-taught to read.
called himself an expert.
Yeah, it's actually kind of remarkable that he managed to get as far as he did. He made some translation errors, big ones.
We're
But
going to get along really well.
but there are not many who can read it. I'm trying to think of the language that we're actually
Hebrew, Akkadian, Sumerian.
Yeah, it's probably Sumerian, I guess.
Yeah, Sumerian was one of the ones that he claimed, and that's how Mike opens his lecture. Is that he humbly would say, "I literally am. I read Hebrew, Akkadian, Sumerian for a living." He would say, "I literally am what Zechariah Sitchin claims to be." Like,
it's probably Sumerian. Yeah. It's the oldest language, right? That we.
Sitchin and Eric von Daniken are very well known, influential in the last 50 years. Anybody in the paranormal is going to default to them as if they're authorities. No, they're con artists that were made popular because they sold a lie that people wanted to hear.
But I do think that their books might contain elements of truth or insight. But okay, but what do you make of Graham Hancock? How do you view somebody like Graham Hancock?
Similar, just like the Garden of Eden. There's some elements of truth to what's being said, and then there's 2 drops of poison. Drink up.
So, okay, did you, by
David
the way...
Icke, William Henry, Graham Hancock, they've all got a little bit of worth studying and reading and all that stuff. Are we playing a comparative religion interview, or
going
back to UFOs, or not back to? I like it. I'm just like, what's the real ask here?
Yeah. Well, that's sort of we always take these discussions wherever they go, and I think this is definitely an interesting discussion because we usually don't go this route because I don't know actually, but it's interesting to compare different ideas and different viewpoints. Like for me, I never really took that perspective like that, like an absolute. I didn't really saw UFOs as demons. So when I first ran it, I knew it sort of existed. I think Timothy Alberino is somebody who also thinks along those lines, and you got, of course, within the Department of Defense, Department of War, I guess, with the whole
photos.
You got different
in my mind between physical UFO craft and paranormal activity. My Roswell 1947 thesis, it's a 1-hour with PowerPoints lecture I do, is a man-made view of Roswell.
Go into that.
Proving us, but there is UFOs in the sky. It's just that UFO used to stand for unidentified. In most American and Europeans' brains, a UFO equals alien spacecraft now, and that's
they are now identified.
Yes, no.
But it's kind of ironic, right? Because when you now think about the UFO, it's actually a very clear picture in people's minds because it's like a flying saucer. It's like an identified object. It's like an alien spaceship.
It's defined as like being a non-denominational Christian. I'm a non-denominational Christian. Well, you've just said I'm whatever you're not, and you've created your own denomination at that point.
But for the same point that aliens being demons is representative, and Apollina Luna on Joe Rogan podcast said that in the briefing,
Luna,
the Pentagon said that they are demons and we have to be very careful. So that's
Yeah, Nick
there. That's just
Redfern.
not a hypothesis. There is like actual intel for that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the things
that's
you
what I
want to
was.
look up are I'm not expert, but look up Nick Redfern and the term Collins Elite and
Yeah,
Nick Redfern's book on God, what's it called? End Times. He's not a Christian guy. He's a Fortean writer. But he has an interview with me and some of my friends in this book called End Times, where it revealed the Pentagon had studied this decades ago. That's why the UFO. That's part of why UFOs have been covered up. Decades ago, they came to the conclusion. High-ranking Christian generals and admirals were like, "No, stay away. It's demonic." And every time somebody pushes, okay, we're going to open the file. Shut the files. Shut the files. Happens
yeah,
every time.
yeah. That was
Demonic.
actually what I
Right
wanted
now,
to get at.
you what?
Because that was actually my point, right? The Collins Elite, because within the UFO field there is a faction, the Collins Elite, and they are often accused of covering this UFO file up because of exactly what you say. Like they say it's demons, you don't want to go there, we have to keep this away from the pop. Is that sort of their mindset? Like, is that actually what motivates them to keep it covered up? And then if that's the case, like, who are those other guys, or are they part of the same group that are actually reverse engineering these craft? And you said the Roswell craft was not a spaceship, so I think if I understood you correctly, you link it back to the Nazis, right? Because they had these very
Yeah,
advanced.
anybody can Google Nazi UFOs at this point. It wasn't so easy 20 years ago. You'll sell yourself on this just by Googling Nazi UFOs. But pardon my reach here. But the talk I give, here we go. Book plug Joe Jordan. But the back half is me and all my PowerPoints. This was an actual craft being designed by Nazis in the 1940s compared to the Roswell crash. The whole book I do is just PowerPoints like this. Nazi UFOs, Hitler's flying saucers. They were doing this, and they were doing it really well. So it is, once you sit and listen for 20 minutes or more with PowerPoints, it's very easy to make the case, even for the metal. Yes, there was a metal discovered in the 30s that bends back into shape. What's it called? Nickel titanium. I'm pronouncing what it is wrong. And then, just while we're giving away the college course here, the metal that bent itself. I'm really mostly pushing a fake alien attack is what the government's trying to push right now. That there's the movie, The Long Kiss Goodnight or Goodbye, Samuel Jackson and Gina Davis.
Yeah, Long Kiss.
And the plot at the end of it turns out the villain was the U.S. government planning to blow up something because their budget was running out. So if there were no terrorism, they would lose their funding. So think fake alien attack and militarizing space.
Yeah,
everything.
It was like Samuel Jackson. I put my keys in my pocket. Dun, dun. Yeah, that one, right? Yeah, it's a great movie. Yeah. Also, Gina Davis, who loses her memory, and then she turns out to be like a secret agent, and then she can kill everybody. And great movie.
While cooking the muffins, still while cooking the muffins. And
Yeah.
You should be invited to your birthday party, honey.
Yeah. Great movie. Yeah. Okay, so you're subscribing to Project Bluebeam then? That the factions that are.
I haven't hardcore studied that. That has been the rumor, and that has been a mantra and a term as long as I've been in this. And I think they're even better at it now. Project Bluebeam is so 1980s. I mean, between weather control and whatever, and seeding the clouds. The sun used to be yellow when I was a kid. Now it's white probably because of all the haze. There's signs in the heavens scheduled. They know about. They've got the Lucifer telescopes. They've got the Bible. There's signs and wonders falling right now, happening, coming, and that they don't want you looking at them, and they want you to think they're pretty normal. It's not.
Yeah, I think Cliff High. I'm not sure if you know the guy. He's pretty famous. He's actually also in crypto. Cliff High.
I've heard the name.
Yeah. He's a big Bitcoin proponent, and I think
he also predicted Trump's appearance on Joe Rogan and along a lot of those things.
Yeah, and Epstein
It was
files.
Trump's assassination as well. Like, no, that was a different prophet.
Yeah, that was a different prophet, but
Yeah,
he did.
but Cliff High has an algorithm which predicts. So it's not like psychic power. He just created a computer algorithm which predict the right events.
Yeah,
Wow.
and what I wanted to say is like he has this. I think 10 years ago he started this Woo series, sort of like Woo is coming. Prepare for Woo because the algorithms are pointing that it will be a big thing in the coming years. And one of the things that he also mentioned is like the Earth. And the planets that are circling around the Earth. Around the Sun. Sorry.
No, you're right the first time.
Yeah. So around the sun, of course, yeah. The sun is, of course, also circling through the galaxy, right? These things are not static. So the sun is actually pulling the planets and the Earth along with it, behind it, right? As they sort of move throughout the galaxy. So what he pointed out is something that the Russian scientists have already pointed out like 50 years ago. Is like you are at different points in the galaxy at different moments, and so complete cycle through the galaxy. I don't know how long it takes, but a very long time. So that also affects, the sun, the planets, the atmosphere, right? It affects everything. As you're moving towards the galaxy. So because our solar system is not static, hanging in the air or something, it's moving just like the planets. So everything is moving continuously, right? So what he pointed out is actually what you just said about the sun. That when you go to the ancient Greek text, Greek and Roman text, they describe the Mediterranean Sea as red, like a wine color. And the sun has a different color, and like you said, like 50 years ago, as far as I can recollect, I think the sun also had a different color. And of course they're spraying shit in the air, so that will probably also definitely have effect on how we. And I mean, Bill Gates had this insane plan to
No.
to cover the sun, right, against what was it, for greenhouse gases or whatever insane
I've had
plan.
plenty of time to read it since then. Raving lunatics, heathen's gonna rage, man. Marvel
Yeah,
not that heathen rage.
yeah. Okay, we'll go back to the Nazis. But how did the Nazis get that advanced in such a short time? And what about the Foo Fighters?
It's just straight out science. I can show you the diagrams of what they were working on and whatever. It is straight out science. There are some people that connect it to Helena Blavatsky that a lot of Hitler and the Nazis were occultists, and that they were possibly, if you want to get freaky with your theology, and I like freaky theology myself, that the fallen angels that are referenced briefly in Genesis 6, 1-4, in the non-canonical book of Enoch, which is just history. It doesn't have to be canon. It's quoted by Jude, literally. Wandering stars, men without clouds, or clouds without rain. That whole verse, 10,000, behold, he cometh with tens of thousands of his saints to behold judgment. That is the New Testament book of Jude, directly quoting the book of Enoch, which all the apostles and Jesus read, and more or less it affected their worldview. Again, call it history for the sake of this conversation. We don't have to have the inspiration argument, although it is in the Ethiopic Church's Bible still today. That said, fallen angels, yes, taught humankind metallurgy, sorcery, astrology, divination, apart from astronomy, by the way. Astronomy, still good. Astrology, bad. Honestly, the making makeup for women, making their faces, anyway. The sin of the fallen angels mentioned in Genesis 6 was sex with women. That's why they're judged, and they are now in Tartarus in chains, according to that whole temple theology. Where we're there was something about the angels that I was about that I was.
Yeah, you wanted to connect it to the Nazis. Like, where did the Nazis get?
Oh, Helena Blavatsky. Yeah, so people that believe that line of Second Temple Judaism, Book of Enoch, as Jesus taught from himself, it's quoted in the Bible. would say that the Nazis were in communication with a fallen angel as well. And we have quoted in this earlier conversation today that there still are angels in heaven that are doing false things. It's to test us. The real, what we call fallen angels, are fallen and they are bound in hell. What we call demons, or they're bound in Tartarus. What we call demons are their progeny, but they used to be in bodies. They don't have bodies, so they want to be in bodies. They want sex and food and all that again. That's your demons. You never see in the New Testament a demon shapeshift and become an alien or become a person. Demons always have to go into something. So when people say aliens are demons, again, it's words. And that is a really poor word choice, because if you see something, that's an angel. Shape-shifting. Angels have physicality when they want to. Demons never can. So if you see something that affects the physical and it's physical, that is not a demon. It may be a bad guy.
So if I understand you correctly, you're saying that people who are abducted by aliens are abducted by angels. Fallen
They
angels.
are being affected by angels. I believe the entire alien abduction experience, which happened to me many times, but I never left my bedroom. You can call it a dreamscape. You can call it astral. If you have a Bible, you will call it a vision. The Bible records many visionary experiences where a good angel shows up and grabs Ezekiel by the hair and he takes him here, over here. Now we're in the temple court. Now we're spying on the bad guys. There's times when Paul, Enoch, Elijah, boom, 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 boom. No, those are not flying saucers. Chariots of fire. It was the whirlwind that took him up anyway. Elijah, being specific, not the chariot. But anyway, there are angels that can incorporate physically. And I believe some of them, just like Galatians 1:8, are sent to test humans. Hey, you're special. Here's what I want you to go back and tell people. And the way I wrote it in my article is, you're either going to, I know what's going to happen if an angel comes to you with a new gospel. One of two things. You're either going to rebuke it in Jesus' name, or you're going to start a new religion, just like the Roswellian guy did. That is what happens when people talk to angels today. Fallen angels.
I have a question. So when you're saying they are just experiences, so you are talking about everything and there are no real abductions, or there are different scenarios where there are actual abductions happening, and there
There
are
are a
some which are
few
just
like
phenomena.
military style abductions. I actually believe in that line of thinking. My
No,
labs.
for example, I'll give you an example of Travis Walton abduction story.
Good case. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something happened to him for sure. We've been in the same room. We'll shake hands, kind of half hug. One thing you notice about Travis is he has this heaviness on him, his oppression. Everything that happened to him was real. I think in his case, it may involve something that people would popularly call something like a portal or something. You were good to call me out on that one. The 99% that we're dealing with is a visionary experience. If you have a friend that says, I'm abducted by aliens, and he runs you through the classical alien abduction syndrome, I can prove to you that that's a visionary experience given time, and open up a couple verses and a few PowerPoints. I can convince most people of that, I should say. People are still going to believe what they want to believe. But Travis is like the unicorn. You got me. Good call out. I don't, in that same stay in my own lane scenario, he's the unicorn that I'm not going to pretend to speak to with authority to answer. But it really happened to him. What happened to him, I will stand on my deathbed and say it was not a nuts and bolts spacecraft from another planet with authentic extraterrestrial biological entities who were born of female and have or male on their world and have a lifespan and who have to eat and hate their job. That did not happen to anybody ever, including Travis Walton. That is a fantasy Steven Spielberg has been selling you for decades. People that believe in alien abduction, they form what their belief about aliens, UFOs, and really the whole cosmos. Steven Spielberg is more responsible for what 99% of people we know believe than the Bible and science and UFO alien abduction research combined. 1% of people out there are having this conversation.
Of course, Hollywood is a dream maker, right? I mean, that's what they call themselves. People like Ridley Scott and Steven Spielberg and the X-Files, Millennium, like what you said earlier, like unidentified flying objects are actually very identified flying objects, because when people think about UFOs, they have a very clear mental picture about what the object actually is and everything that's related to it and associated with it. So it's very ironic that they are called unidentified when basically everybody said, "Oh, it's a UFO." I know what a UFO is. It's like no, you don't,
Yeah.
because they're unidentified.
We have definitions. We can say Jesus, and two people hear the same different. I gotta finish with you said you were right on the gosh, the angelic experience. I don't mean to write it off as astral. That was just a dream. In the Bible, the entire book of Revelation is John's recounting of one such experience where an angel showed up, altered the 3D reality around him, or incorporated him, or some other thing. But when we see Elijah and John, they eat scrolls. It tastes like honey. It was bitter, made me sick. All this stuff. They have physical proof of their angelic encounter. Travis, fallen angelic encounter, maybe sent to test us. Did you rebuke it in Jesus' name, or did you let it take you? That's always going to be the test. One is in front of you. Does it run in Jesus' name, or do you let it tell you what to do? Back to the Betty Andreasen thing. But I am not going to hang out with John in heaven. Back to the point on astral, physical, portal, what the heck, and say, John, that was just a dream. That didn't happen. Ezekiel, Isaiah, you guys had bad pizza that night. That was a nice dream you wrote down that we call the Bible now. No, the Bible records, and I'm going to apply this to alien abduction, angelic experience. The Bible records them as history. You can say 3D space and time. You can say dreams and visions. You can say heavenly realms. You can say whatever you want to. The Bible records them as history.
And what do you make of, and then we're going to segue to something else, but what do you make of psychic abilities, right? Remote viewing, people like Joe McMonagle, Ingo Swann, and, Project Stargate, and the Russians and the Chinese basically doing the same thing and having their own counter operations along similar lines. How does that fit into your sort of paradigm?
Very real. Can't deny the research. Can't deny the phenomena. Won't bother to. Most of them mirror things that are seen in the Bible. Ezekiel, I'm pretty sure, or Isaiah, they were literally taken to remote view what the enemy chambers were discussing, and then went back, and they're like, "What? Well, it's like the guys are in here." So there's precedence for what you call psychics as prophets in the Bible, even the New Testament, but we're supposed to be operating in a high horse of mine that I have a good newspaper column on. The gifts of the Spirit include word of knowledge, word of wisdom. The Christian church is supposed to be operating them. However, those giftings come through the Holy Spirit as he wills and when he wants to. What remote viewers and psychics alike are messing around with is you have a gifting in your body. God created us all a certain way. You have a gifting that God wants you to exercise and use. My analogy came to me years ago. It's like my boombox in high school. I can power it with AC or DC. Do I want to be plugged in to the Holy Ghost and let his power operate my giftings as he will? Or do I want to impress my friends and make money and do it on demand? Therefore, I got to switch over to DC, meaning bad current, dark anointing, and let the demons and let other powers, we'll say, operate my same giftings. And I can schedule it, write you in at noon, charge you $50 for it too. They are both real. They are both gifts that are of God and from God. Same as a gun, same as my body. You can worship God or you can sin before God with our bodies. I got a lot of both racked up, honestly. We all probably do. But the giftings, the psychics, it's all real. I think they're going to find, like the Collins Elite, every time they go down that tunnel, oh, guys, it's demonic. We're opening a can of worms. We can't control this. The movie Men Who Stare at Goats. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah.
It was filmed here. The piece of it was filmed in Roswell. I served George Clooney 3 nights in a row.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, all those things are real, but they're sort of chasing demonic. They're chasing powers that are real. I do believe Tesla. I do believe the burning of the Alexandria Library. I do believe there's free energy and all kinds of stuff that the corporate powers, Epstein's bosses, have just been covering up for hundreds of years or longer. The bells, the churches, Tesla was trying to give away free energy wireless to the world.
Okay,
I believe.
I got
Go
three more questions. Do you know Chris Bledsoe and his sort of prophecy for this year, or?
No, I don't. I couldn't rattle it off. I've seen his name.
Yeah, so Chris Bledsoe is sort of like Edgar Casey. I'm not sure if you know Edgar Casey. He's sort of like a Madame Blavatsky, right? He's sort of like a psychic.
The Sleeping
a very
Prophet.
famous one, yeah.
The Sleeping
And,
Prophet. That's Edgar Casey.
Yeah. That was his title. Yeah, and Chris Bledsoe is you could say it's like a modern style. Edgar Casey, and he made apparently he made a lot of predictions, which were very prescient, right? I think he wrote this book in 2010 or something, and a lot of those things that were written back then, I'm not sure if it's 2010, but around that time, and are now coming to pass. And he's connected to a lot of the military brass and intelligence people that are sort of visiting them, and then he can summon UFOs and they see it, and it's all amazing and stuff. But we, of course, only we only have indirect evidence of people telling us about it, but no physical evidence of any of it. But anyway, he sort of made the prediction that I think it was April this year. There will be an alignment of. I think the stars, Regulus will be sort of above the Sphinx, and then the Akashic records or sort of some kind of secret space with under the pyramids or under the Sphinx will open up, and gifts will. At least maybe I'm mixing two kind of prophecies together.
It's easy to do, but you're not wrong in the spirit of what you're saying, though.
But it was something like there will be a big revelation. Yeah. A big revelation will come.
Again, actually, him I don't know, but what comes to mind is I said like gifts of the spirit and stuff like that. There's something in the Old Testament. I think it's Second Chronicles. I've quoted it. I could find it, but they're going to war, and each tribe is listing what weapon, what power, what training, what's archers from Gad, and swordsmen from Zebedee, or I'm just making that up. But I think it's verse 1132. The sons of Issachar, this was their weapon going to war. And you're going to love this, Sid. Pay attention. It answers your question from earlier. The sons of Issachar understood the times, and they knew what Israel should do. That was a weapon of an entire clan or whatever like that. That's listed right along with what cannonballs and nukes and stuff like that. And I do believe it is. You can look it up historically. That is understood as obeying Genesis 1 and Psalm 19, knowing what the heavens are signaling is what their gift of the Spirit was. So Edgar Casey, this guy, what do you call it? Reading tea leaves or reading the stars? There are giftings of the Spirit where the book of Daniel, it's the name of my newspaper column, was 10 times better. These things are real that you're asking about, remote viewing. They're not. They can be empowered darkly. If it's your gifting and your calling, you're going to be craving it. You're going to be misusing it in your youth somehow or other. The devil's going to attack you based strategically to cripple that gifting. In fact, that happened. The schemes of Satan's. But the point of it was there are giftings and ways of God where Moses, it happened. He makes his servants 10 times better than the courts in astrology. The supernatural, the miraculous is what I'm advocating here for. It's supposed to be the norm in Christianity. It is sadly not. Therefore, we're falling for all this other crap. But yeah, your guy Bledsoe, he might be one of those sons of Issachar gifted type who's just reading the signs, reading the tea leaves. You know the movie and comic book Watchmen? Ozymandias? He sat there and just stared at the screens. And that's what he was doing. He was doing what we're talking about. He was reading the tea leaves and just predicting, megatrends. World War III, if I don't intervene and become a villain.
So where are we? Where are we in the biblical scheme of things? Some people say this is, we're approaching Armageddon. Sorry, I used to play Armageddon. or is this a minor phase that we're in, a turbulent phase, but not like the end of times, or are we actually in the end of times? Like, do you have a perspective on that from your research?
We absolutely could be, and the church has been saying that we are for 2,000 years, and we've been wrong about that
Yeah.
over and over and over again. So where we are biblically, I mean, you can look at the blood moon that's coming up on March 3rd in a couple of days. That has a lot more related to our conversation, actually, than this. What is this planetary parade? This planetary parade is just math. It's just math. Cue balls.
Okay, what can you tell us about the blood moon?
Well, pure blood. I don't want to actually right now. I'm still studying it myself because I'm planning on marking it with my alter ego. But
yeah, I think just do your study.
Signs themselves, where we are biblically, is live a quiet life, work with your hands so that you may have something to give. Yeah, I've seen that one. Blow it up then. Y'all want to go blood moon? Let's go blood moon then.
But what I think that we are not definitely because we don't know, but we are in turbulence, and apocalypse is just few years away. It's not happening tomorrow.
Apocalypse means revelation. We are in a period where the curtain is lifting. All these extra solar objects that have come in the last 8 years, for the first time, we have something allegedly from a different, it's prophetic and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And by the way, our technology is a whole lot better to where we can see stuff that we've never ever been able to see before. That's just math as well. But no, honest to God, Joe, the conference we're doing, we're treating it as if this is the last big hurrah, that the world governments are announcing a fake alien invasion. The aliens are here. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. It always has been. I said so in the 90s with a webpage. And then I moved here to Roswell to tell people there's no aliens. You have demonic deceivers pretending to be aliens. They leave in Jesus' name. They do nothing but start cults and rape people and have 100 wives if they can get away with it.
Yeah.
And then the Collins elite are, in your view, the good guys, and the people who are pushing for disclosure, the bad ones, or is it different, or how do you view?
Yeah, different classification. The good guys, I would just say, and I don't know each of their names individually, but I would say they're good guys in the sense that they discovered something that was true and not popular, and they acted on it, perhaps. And what was the other? The disclosure people? They're misled. They're being deceived by demons to promote demons. It's in the Bible in the last days. Men will depart from the faith and give heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. 1 or 2 Timothy 4. Will give heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. Stephen Greer, disclosure guy, the press conferences. I don't mean Bassett, but they're having their strings pulled by demons, and they're basically the publicity agents for false gods.
And are you sort of like? But do you think the disclosure itself, like for if it's real, like if they were actually reverse engineering whatever it is that they were reverse engineering, do you think we should have disclosure? Like, should these files be open and that people actually have an idea what the hell is going on? The hell's going on?
Yeah, people ask that question in the sense of, it's called begging the question. Let's just assume aliens are real, and because everybody wants to go down that road. If they were, yes, I think they should give us full disclosure. Guess what's going to be disclosed, however, is that Tesla was the man. Energy is free. You don't have to buy oil to light your home or to drive anywhere. Tesla was working on a UFO that could travel seamlessly. Anti-gravity is good. Einstein is fake. What people call science today is all hypothetical. It is not measurable, observable, repeatable. That thing you said about traveling the sun and the planets are following the sun and we're moving in the solar system. Same as aliens. Nowadays, we live in a world where if you don't believe aliens are real from other planets, you're stupid. Same thing you just described as this, what you described, the classic model. I will say to aliens, I'm open to any evidence you can give me of that. You cannot prove to me aliens exist. You cannot prove to me that we are moving. It's a great theory. You got a lot of imagination. You got no real world, measurable, observable, repeatable science backing you up on aliens or on the fact that the idea that we're moving. You believe it
So,
all you want
by the
to.
way,
I love you. I don't care. But you don't have evidence for the fact that we're moving through space in the way that you described. It's a wonderful theory. You're welcome to it. This is America. God bless you.
Thank you. I'm from
so by
Europe.
the way,
Can't prove aliens
just
either,
yeah,
guys.
just a question. Are you more inclined towards geocentric model, or when you say
I
we
am.
are not moving? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I
Okay.
am.
A lot of people are. I just wanna know, like, what's the framework? So, okay, that
Mhm.
makes sense.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
came to it very late recently. Most of my 20 years of UFO research, I did not have that model in my head at all. So I can discuss it from either way. Once you get in that geocentric mode, you're like, duh, dome, nothing gets in, nothing gets out. There's no such thing as aliens. It's all fake. We can have a 3-day Christian symposium on aliens with 4 PhD guys and present our papers and our PowerPoints and then talk it out on the third day, which we've done.
And
Or
okay,
you can
this
take page 1 of the Bible as it's written, and you're going to arrive at the same conclusion. There's no aliens.
this might be a good point to make the announcement, the big announcement today on the show.
Yeah.
We have a very
Yeah,
special
thanks.
thing, namely, Guy Malone is gonna have his own show on Bitcoin Live, and we're proud to have him and host him. You will also be on the organized media, of course, and since shortly also on Quantum Economics, because we're airing our shows on all the different platforms. So can you tell us a little bit about what your show will be about? And because we talked about UFOs a lot, but you're actually also very deep in crypto. You have a lot of actually a lot of people that you know and knew are actually also people that we interviewed and know and knew. People like Girl Gone Crypto, Crypto Finally, Nerd Girl. So it was sort of like when we got to
Rachel,
talking, it was like, oh, cool.
Leah, Nicole. Yep. Influencers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did have an old job, Lunar Digital Assets, like an incubation firm, marketing. I learned some fantastic reply guy skills there for being on X and Twitter and trying to get some views and promoting. What was it? Oh, new program. Thank you,
Yeah.
both of you. These guys are putting the time and labor into teaching me how to have this conversation over and over again from different angles. Years ago, I did live from Roswell.com. Joe Montaldo out of New Orleans, FM station, actually. He was my guy in the chair doing all the tech. Today, you guys are going to start me off that way and teach it to me as I go so I can have a weekly. My shtick, as it's been defined in the last year, as finance meets faith, because I got a part-time job nerd boying our local Roswell Daily Record newspaper, which reported on the 1947 crash. It's still famous for that. They still sell souvenir copies. So your non-UFO guy gets a job there, code to the building and everything. And I was able to parlay that into writing a column about Bitcoin. So for a good year, I had a Sunday column that I wrote about Bitcoin, teaching no coiners, gray-haired people who still pay for newspaper delivery, 1,000 words or more about Bitcoin for a good year. And it had some good effect. But published newspaper columns. I'm self-publishing that as a book. In fact, may I reach? Yeah. I have one copy now. Bitcoin for the record.
Cool.
21 Sunday columns, and it tracked Donald Trump's conversion.
Nice.
The last entry is strategic reserve signed. I tracked that period from an AP journalism. And last year I went to the Bitcoin conference and I got a few autographs, including Senator Cynthia Lummis and Peter Schiff. A couple Bitcoin magazine. I got more to collect. But the topic of the program could be finance, Bitcoin specifically. This is Bitcoin Live, not UFO Live. But of course, everybody gets tired of the Bitcoin guy. The newspaper, I got called in the office twice. Phone call with someone not even in the office. My word count got cut twice. So finally, this thing that began my interest in the stars in Psalm 19 and Genesis 1, interpreting and looking at the way the modern modern Ethiopic church still teaches these things as just markers and signs. It's not predictive. It's not personal. You're not practicing astrology. You are asking God, what are you declaring? What season are we in? Okay, well, then I'm going to get, it's like Henry Blackaby is a famous Baptist book. Quit opening your businesses and starting your ministry and then asking God to bless what you're doing. Look around. Discern what the Holy Spirit is doing. And then, like Surfer, who's underwater most of the time, you get in the flow of what God's doing, and boom, that's where the miracles happen. And you look cool for 15 seconds on that surfboard. That's the same thing I'm saying about supernatural faith. Anyway, Bitcoin, something happened. We'll do the story later. And I said, can I write this instead? And it was about scripture and faith. And I started getting into what the stars were actually happening. I photographed something very rare over my head one night. And it just started a thing. So I have now 20. I've got one more to write still on faith. It'll be called Supernatural for the record, where I cover gifts of the Spirit, Corinthians. I'm like David. They were anointed with power. Church, why aren't you? Paul said he buffets his body. He did not mean Golden Corral and China King. Like, come on, church. The early church practiced prayer and fasting together. The modern church has prayer breakfasts. Do you get my drift? I can't believe I got away with saying these things in the newspaper. But now I have a lot of, as we've discussed, all this angelic theology, I put it in the paper until very recently, and not performance related or even not editorial related, so they say. The paper had to continue making the cuts that have been made the whole time, the year and a half I've worked there. And I'm out of a job, and the editor above me is out of a job on the same day we got the announcements. But this is the editor who had to move to Roswell, New Mexico, work at a newspaper that was dying, and approve or disapprove and edit everything you and I have just talked about. Wildlife experience. So he wrote me a foreword for the 21 bit Supernatural for the record. So the topic of where I'm at right now is I'm just doing self-published 21 news columns on Bitcoin hardback, scarce collectible signed, 21 natural hardback, scarce collectible signed. Talking with my local printer first before going to Amazon for that scarcity, but because 21 newspaper columns and more on those topics, I'm a marketable enough person to have a conversation like you. I love bringing on guests as well. One of the things I discovered, we said we would talk about this. I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist anymore, guys. I've LARPed as a Bitcoin maximalism for many years because I was simping on Swan and working for Bitcoin Magazine and all that stuff. I've held XRP since Coinbase listed it, though. I mean, back that long ago, Coinbase had 3 or 4 things, and you bought them all, and we all know it. Okay, I haven't cashed them all out, and it's still a good financial decision to be holding a little XRP. That aside, I'm 90% plus Bitcoin. However, at this very Bitcoin conference where I was getting Peter Schiff and Cynthia Lomas's signature, I met a group of people called the Buckazoids. Do you want to talk about that? You said, okay.
Of course. Yeah. Let's go.
Turns out the literal origin of Bitcoin might be a video game from the 80s and 90s. A lot of people my age or even younger know about Space Quest. The main character was a janitor called Roger Wilco. In this game, you were given Buckazoids as your currency when you started it. Video games of the era had like rubies and sacks of cash or gold coins that you would boop, 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 boop as you went. Not Buckazoids and not Space Quest and not Roger Wilco. He was not the captain, by the way. He was the janitor on the ship. Oh, look at you. That's my day job, making memes. Thanks for that. That means a lot. Thanks. So this year, back in March, some guy, random Redditor, gamer geeks, goes, hey, what is a Bitcoin logo doing in my 1991 video game? So we're like, what? That's a B with 2 marks through it. That's 18 years before the white paper. So these gamers, geeks, nerds, gotta love them. Go and start doing the research of Space Quest, 1986. Sierra Game, that's the company. Here's the credits. Who's on here? Okay, nothing. Well, who is and what you find out, and this is this is completely proven now. Got the screenshots and everything. Is that there was associated with the company also a game maker in a small niche field of people that there was so much inbred crossbreeding. There had to be. They lived in each other's basements. They drank beer. They played video games online together. One of the guys was named Satoshi Iwasaka. The other guy was Rodney Nakamoto. They are not listed in the credits for Space Quest, but they did work for Sierra Games.
You know who would love this stuff? Actually, my brother. He's not listening, but I'll tell him tomorrow because
clip him this last part
because he's a huge XRP fan. Has a big bag.
Oh, rock on.
And within the XRP community, because that's why I know about the Buckazoid thing is because the XRP community has this tendency of myth making, like they like myths and conspiracies. And,
Before Satoshi, come on.
Yeah.
That sucker will not answer me. I've written Brad Triumphs 5 times. We predate your 4 Satoshis, bud. Answer me.
Yeah,
answer me.
And Buckazoid, or sort of the bee that you mention in the game is always sort of like an example from the XRP community. See, it was all a scam. It was all preordained. It was they have a couple of those kind of things.
But the conference, we have a picture of one of our guys. I was not a Buckazoid. I met them. I am now one afterwards. But one of our guys is handshaking Brad Garlinghouse, and he gives them this round token. This is an iron version of what was in the video game that you played on the screen, animated. Mm-hmm. You were given 59 Buckazoids in the game when you started. They were digital, weightless, borderless, good everywhere in the galaxy. And it was a time travel game. So guess what? Your Buckazoids, the longer you held them, the more they became worth. And there was a guy named Satoshi Iwasaka and Rodney Nakamoto affiliated with the company. And 2 guys from Andromeda was Sierra Games. They played in the Buckazoid. I can't define it. The point is, they revealed in a post that they took down later, but our guys screenshot the heck out of it, that the third guy from Andromeda, the 2 guys from Andromeda are known, but there was a third, and they revealed it was Hal Finney with a picture of him. So the third guy involved with Space Quest, the first recipient of the Bitcoin transaction from Satoshi Nakamoto. And these guys making a game took a letter B and put 2 lines through it. And that was the logo in a game 20 years ago. Now the mystery deepens. You were given 59 Buckazoids. See this rocket? Your Bitcoin guy meets these people. Every person in this community has one of these stories, by the way. Mm-hmm. You got the B. Okay, I'm a Bitcoin columnist in Roswell, New Mexico, which is officially nicknamed one of 2 places in the world, the birthplace of the modern rocket. Robert Goddard invented liquid fuel rockets. The high school is named Goddard Rockets. The team is the Rockets. I'm telling you, there's a museum here called Goddard. So I'm copy editing the newspaper one day, and I discover for the first time that I live in District 59 of New Mexico. So it's so cosmically coded. The origins of Bitcoin there's things going on that only Tesla can explain. With the number 59, why did they pick 59? We know some reasons now, but it's a prime number. It's a dual prime. It fits into Bitcoin's code in a way that only Tesla could probably explain to you. But this Buckazoids community, the whole upshot is we have gotten closer to the secret, untold origin of who actually penned the white paper. And everybody at the top, I can show you tweets and I post them regularly. Max Kaiser goes on this rant. Buckazoids erupted from the video games of the 90s.com era. Bam, we got it. I said something about because it came from Buckazoids, Adam Back liked this. You've got the quote, one of the guys quoted in the white paper. You've got Hal Finney affiliated with Space Quest, the 2 guys from Andromeda, and the first Bitcoin. Grok will still tell you that there's no evidence. Low battery, 14 minutes up. Grok will say there's no evidence. There's no smoking gun. And we will tell you the same thing. But the human mind will not look at that many coincidences stacked upon one another, and walk away and say that's just coincidence.
So what do we know? What do we know about Satoshi and Nakamoto? Because apparently there are two people. What kind of people were they? And is there anything known about these developers, programmers?
Epstein knew
little
about
bit.
them. Though.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, he threw some money at it. He did throw some money at it.
Yeah, in 2011. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, my
2011.
concept of that line of thinking. Yeah, Bitcoin is for gamblers and drug dealers. Honestly, when I go back and think, who was the first person I knew that had a beeper? Oh, it was my weed guy. Yeah, my drug dealer in high school or wherever. Yeah, he had a beeper. Criminals always adopt technology, but the second person I knew that had a beeper, he was my coworker, and his wife was in her last trimester. And when that beeper went off, everybody at the office knew he was out of there. Okay, Jeff Epstein threw some money at Bitcoin. Good for him. That was not how he made his money, or he was all that.
I would do that too if I were.
But the Buckazoids crew, when you ask what kind of people invented Bitcoin, they were geeky gamer incels.
Let's go.
Simps, nerds, geeks. And guess what? Less than a year ago, a bunch of gamers living that same life today uncovered what the NSA, what the FBI, what the KGB could not uncover. They've gotten closer to the true origin, I believe, of who Satoshi Nakamoto and how Bitcoin was tested. We call Buckazoids cheekily Bitcoin's test net. They were bouncing Buckazoids back and forth, drinking beer. We've got the footage of people playing video games from that era. Yay, Buckazoid and all that stuff. It was the first real origin of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. And we have enough of a paper trail that there's evidence that there's a connection. Come on. But you talk to Bitcoin Magazine, you talk to Bitcoin News, you talk to Bitcoin Telegraph, there's a glass ceiling. They will not have this discussion. There is a cover up because
if people like Elon Musk or Peter Thiel or those kind of people were involved or connected to these.
Looks like I got the screenshots. Yeah, we post the screenshots all the time. If you're on X, it's at buckazoidsworld.com. Disclosure, it is a Solana meme coin. It's a shit coin. We do not advocate rearranging your portfolio or selling shares. That's what Bitcoin is for. If you look at it from that perspective, we teach it as history. Fascinating. We've unraveled the mystery of Bitcoin. If you got $10 or $100 you want to throw at it, whatever you consider fun money, if you would have spent $10 on Bitcoin 15 years ago, that's what might possibly happen with Buckazoids. It could go to zero.
But
don't
then
rearrange.
Just sort of to make a point here, the Buckazoid, the original Buckazoid was only in the game, of course. In the game, you can probably still find somewhere. But the Buckazoid that you're talking about right now is a meme coin that is being launched in honor of the Buckazoid of the game, right? Because Solana didn't exist.
Yeah. And just like all of crypto, the industry that I allegedly walked away from, because I was marketing some good projects with this company, Lunar Digital Asset, Nerd Girl Nicole, Matic and Chromia was who they were prepping when I was there. Matic was between 2 and 4 cents, and I was on the marketing team that I bought $100 worth. That thing topped at $284 one day. I'd already sold by then, but all I meant was I wanted to be more Bitcoin only, and I walked away from crypto. And by becoming more and more Bitcoin only, I discovered Buckazoids.
Yeah.
Buckazoids is Bitcoin. And it pisses off every Bitcoin maximalist in the world to realize that a shitcoin is their origin. Luke, I am your father. I'm your test. We're two lost souls swimming in a fish bowl year after year.
I think it's actually very poetic if it's true, because meme coins and memeing in crypto are they go hand to hand. It would be really funny if it's actually the case, and then on top of that, Roswell is also the birthplace of UFOs and aliens, or whatever they are. So and all of that stuff is now coming together at the moment, right? I mean, many people within the Bitcoin and crypto community are actually also on the forefront of this whole disclosure slash.
Yeah. Centralization versus decentralization is a common thread I'm finding. I'm going to do a little twist here. I got to plug in my Chromebook.
Yeah, no problem. And you also mentioned something else about Roswell being what was it again, on the other side of the world? What
Hey,
you had?
good seg. Good seg. While we were talking about the Watchers and the Book of Enoch and Mount Hermon, the physical location in the other side of the world, it is at roughly, I don't know the exacts, but it is at 33 degrees latitude, longitude, Mount Hermon, where the Jewish and the first century Christians believe 200 angels descended, coveting to mate with human women. But they were good dads, not like the alien abductions. They stayed and had families, raised kids. They were evil beasts, but they were good dads compared to today's alien abduction. That's why I say they are not the same phenomena. To close that conversation, Mount Hermon, there where that happened, is 33 degrees. Roswell, New Mexico, and where the crash site is 33 degrees in this hemisphere. So get your little karma, your yin yang, your Buckazoid, 2 lost souls swimming in a fishbowl. Here we go, a freaking again. The physical location of Roswell has that significant numerical geographic significance that Mount Hermon does in the Bible, and that is the exact same location Jesus said, Peter, who do you say I am? Well, you're the Son of God, you're the Messiah, you're the Christ. That revelation came at the base of Mount Hermon. Jesus said, I will build my church, and the gates of hell will not stand against it. He said at the very gate of hell, where the angels descended, took the women. The whole story ends with the flood of Noah. Jesus said, your confession of me as Christ is reversing Hermon from now on. And that's what I do here. That's me and Joe and abduction. We're still reversing and enforcing Christ's victory over those dark powers by telling the truth of their origins.
Are you saying that Mount Hermon is Hermon. Sort of where the Ark of Noah sort of landed, or
a lot of people think that too. I'm not an expert in that. I won't speak to it, but yeah, it seems like in the 80s or 90s that was pop culture too, and it may be absolute fact. I'm pretty sure that the Ark is in Ethiopia. Let's
say for the sake of argument that it's true. I have no idea if it's true, but if that's the case, then many people compare Bitcoin to an Ark.
Well done. I'm one of them. Right? Get on the Ark.
Yeah, me too.
Download the app called Noah. I've done that as a newspaper column. Yeah. So again, it all does kind of circle back around to where it is a coherent field to be interconnected, and it draws the same people. People have written often. It annoys some people because they're like, why are so many Bitcoiners Christians? Well, and honestly, flat earthers, it comes up. There's an overlap, or unjabbed, we'll say, because there's people that have done their own research, and they have found out that what we're being told is not true about a variety of topics.
There's definitely something not true. Yeah, a lot of stuff is untrue or half true.
It's all about decentralization. If you believe in the whole mark of the beast, one world government coming up thing, that is about centralized authority. And that is what Bitcoin was invented to front run. Bitcoin's not the mark of the beast. It is actually it's the John the Baptist front running before that's bad analogy. But anyway, it was designed to Hal Finney and them, they knew the government could use computers to control everybody. Hal Finney said, we can use computers to free people. And that's where Bitcoin came from. And just back on that track, Bitcoin, or Hal Finney, is in cold storage right now. Here's where it gets absolutely freaky. If you want to get to connected in technology and theology and blasphemy, while we're at it, almost possible.
Let's go.
Is that this guy, Matt, I'm going to have him on since you're your program. God bless you. Thank you. I'm going to have Maddie explain to you the connections between the transhumanist movement and the origins of Bitcoin. That we'll schedule that once I'm a skilled host and can handle it, because what he has found out, documented, and he's got like pages and pages of Grok and ChatGPT sourcing it, is that the same people that invented Bitcoin, they were not only trying to upload their money to a decentralized database that could outlive them. They were trying to do it with their souls and their minds as well. And Buckazoids research through Matt has revealed that even the origin of Bitcoin is a little bit more transhumanist than I've found myself comfortable with lately, to be as involved with it as I am. But I just love again, that logo I showed you, Bitcoin, Rocket, District 59, that was in a video game years before I was even in Roswell or heard of Bitcoin. So there's a weird interconnectedness. I love that you're giving me the opportunity to just ramble, talk about crazy things from time to time. But again, give you a tour.
So, Matty, you mean Matty Sets, right? Matthew Ryan Cayes. Or another.
No,
Matty.
who what? No,
Another
one of the
Matty.
Buckazoid crew. Matty B, Mattie. You guys, you were kind of some of the replies I got on your X post. Matt was probably one of them, but he's the one.
Actually, I thought of the same Matt as anyway.
Yeah, because
we know Matty. Yeah.
We have Matty, we have Matty, and then we have Matt Hatter, and now we have another Matt.
Okay, to speak of, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, really cool.
So thank you. We'll be doing
makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah, we'll be doing a faith or finance, or a finance meets faith program here with you guys, and I'll maybe have some guests. By default, like I said, I'll have at least 21 published faith and 21 published Bitcoin articles. If something comes in the news, I can just start reading from Ignore the FUD. This is a headline published in the newspaper in Roswell. Ignore the FUD. Quantum computing won't kill Bitcoin. Here's another one called, Bitcoin is like a group text message. And I can just probably come on and talk about concepts. If there's no news, if it's dead, if the guest cancels or doesn't show, I'll read you a column that was printed in the newspaper. Bitcoin Live crew will love the historical fact. You'll love hearing some of the things I put in the newspaper if we get to talking about those.
Yeah, no, definitely.
This has gone on a really long time. You guys tonight where you are. Don't you need to go to bed or something?
Yeah, no. I kind of suspected that it would be a long show, especially, with also the war breaking out. It would, that adds another 15 minutes. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I actually learned even more new stuff because you and me have talked already 2 times, of course.
Yeah.
But it was a very interesting conversation, which ran the gamut. And love to have you back on, and love to see your show. And I loved it.
And very interesting.
Do we have a set Saturday or Sunday? I didn't hear that. Repeat it.
I was saying you have a very interesting perspective of everything. So I really enjoyed that perspective. Yeah.
Thank you. And you both contributed as much, and you know things that I don't. You've got areas of research that complement and are actually beyond what I have. Like I said, I will barely know enough to stay in my lane nowadays. I did not always, though. But I don't mind learning from you guys. If we disagree on something, your opinions are at least well researched. And as soon as we disagree, I think you can give me a fact that I didn't know, or vice versa. And it sounds like we're the type of people who appreciate being corrected when we're wrong.
Yeah.
That's important. If that spirit is here, then
I think that's the spirit of decentralization, right? That you actually connect people that you don't per se agree with on everything, right? And that's also impossible. Like, we're all human beings, so we're all gonna disagree at some level with some stuff, right? So, and that's, I think, what's wrong in the world today, that people they can't stand other people anymore because they can't stand disagreements, right? Or so no, that's what we are all about. So we love having a fresh perspective, and that's what you bring to the table, and it's very well researched. And I love Buckazoid. I'm actually gonna scoop up some Buckazoids myself.
Not financial advice.
Not financial advice, just for fun. So,
but I myself have put a little more than $10 or $100 into it.
Yeah. Actually, no. Okay, yeah. So not financial advice, and I'm not gonna say how much I'm gonna put into it. But there's actually another group of people that you would probably also really like to talk with. They're called UAP, the podcast. Topher.
They're called what?
They have a show that's called UAP the podcast. That's
that's ours. That's on your channel.
Well, it's actually theirs, but they're also airing on our platform because we have this decentralized mantra and they like it. But they actually launched their own coin, which is called
Breaker visualization.
But I think this is like the pre-coin, like the pre-launch, sort of like a raising money, like a crowdfund project.
Oh, sounds like a shit coin. I'm not interested. I don't do shit coins.
No, but it's really cool that people within the crypto community can play around with these kind of things and raise capital and raise awareness. You also got the arrest coin, the Epstein arrest coin.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I do appreciate regulatory wise that once Trump came in, that they went ahead and made the distinction between meme coins and utility tokens. Utility, that Matic and Chromia, LDA, that's what they were building. Those projects are building things. From a regulatory perspective, with meme coins that do absolutely nothing, they finally said, you know what? If you want to collect baseball cards, it's okay. If you want to collect Beanie Babies, it's okay. Nobody expects Trump coin or Buckazoids to do shit or to be worth anything. And you know what? If you want to smoke cigarettes, that's okay. We're just going to tax it, and here, have your meme coins. And yeah, Buckazoids is amazing history of Bitcoin. It's educational. The argument or the thing I've come to discover with Bitcoin maxis, it's yes or no. The more you know about Bitcoin, the more Bitcoin you buy, correct? Bitcoin maxi, you know that's true. Guess what? I'm in a community of people who will tell you time and time again that they're crypto kids who thought Bitcoin was old, slow, boomer tech. They've binged and they've degened on all kinds of crap coins. And as soon as they learned the history of Bitcoin through Buckazoids and what it is, they've started DCAing Bitcoin more so than even their shit coins in some cases.
People have no idea.
Bitcoin for the time because Buckazoids led them to believe in Bitcoin finally. Buckazoids is turning people into Bitcoiners just slowly, very slowly. They're still degen gambler shitcoiners, and I love them. And they've look, as weird as I am, you've accepted me, they've accepted me. So finally found a home. Buckazoids is Bitcoin. Whatever we're talking about, we'll pick it up in other programs, I guess, right? We've kept each other a while.
Yeah, no, it was fun. We actually got a comment from Azrael. She said the coherently likes authenticity, genuine want for abundance for all, in a sense of humor. If you got all three things, you're red as F.
Bless you. Thank you so much for saying that.
So let's end of those on those positive notes. Sid, do you want to add something?
No, it's cool. It's nice talking to you, and looking forward to talk to you again.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's get the three of us together again. It doesn't have to be week, or it doesn't have to, wait forever. All right, love it. Thanks for the opportunity, guys. Be blessed.
That's fun.
Thank you.
And when in Roswell, visit theplaza.com. That's where I'm at right now. Booth 23. Okay. When in Roswell, visit the Plaza. Yeah, visit theplaza.com. That's where you'll find me in person.
Cool. Yeah, we'll see more of you. Finance meets faith, right? It's gonna
correct. I did register financemeetsfaith.com. Right now it points to one of my Roswell Daily Record columns. Cool. Until we build something around this program and my 2 books are ready to public release.
And soon you will have a lot of videos like these on there as well.
Yeah.
So it was nice meeting you, Guy, and having this conversation with you. It's always a fun hanging around with Sid and having these long conversations. And wish everybody, wherever you are, a really nice evening, morning, or afternoon. And see you next time.
See you. Bye.